All right, good morning, everyone. Today is Wednesday, March 12th. It's 9:01 a.m. and we are convening this meeting of the Local Revenue Subcommittee Ways and Means. We have two bills for consideration this morning. We will begin with HB 953. Stan, can you remind us of what this bill does?
So this bill provides funding for the Homeowner Protection Program, which helps homeowners in tax sale, low-income homeowners keep their homes. As it came in, the bill provides funding at $1.5 million a year, with $1 million coming from the counties collectively and $500,000 coming from the state. The bill also prohibits charging interest to enrollees in the program and requires information on the program to be posted on county property tax websites, and also establishes other reporting requirements. So the amendments that you have before you do two things. Most importantly, it reduces the amount of funding by half. So under the bill as amended, annual funding would be $750,000, which is the current level of funding, and it's the amount that the program has received since it was began in 2021. So of that $750,000, $250,000 would come from the state, and $500,000 would come from the counties collectively. So that's the total amount that all the counties together would contribute, would be $500,000. And then the amendments also add a reporting requirement on program revenues and expenditures. And that's it.
Thank you. Thank you, Stan. Is there a motion to move the amendment?
I move.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, discussion on the amendment? I saw you, Delegate Griffith. Okay, seeing none, all in favor of adopting the amendment to HB 953, aye.
Aye.
Right, all opposed, nay. Okay, seeing none, the amendment is adopted. Is there a motion to adopt the bill as amended?
I move as amended.
Second.
All right, is there any discussion on the bill as amended? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. All right. So House Bill 953 is amended and referred to full committee. We will now move on to House Bill 969. Cian.
So this bill, as it is presented to you, requires SDAT to use certain methods to determine the value of property owned by a rural broadband service provider. And it's very complicated language in the bill. The amendments strike all of those requirements relating to the valuation of property of a rural broadband service provider, and instead substitutes an authorization for counties to enter into a payment in lieu of taxes agreement with a rural broadband service provider.
I move as amended. I move the amendment.
Second.
Is there any discussion on the amendment? Seeing none, all in favor of the amendment, aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Okay, seeing none, is there a motion to move the bill as amended?
I move as amended.
Second.
Okay, discussion, Delegate Griffith.
Yes, Madam Chair. So, and I'm just seeing this as of 6 minutes ago. I don't know if you or Stan saw the email from Think Big Networks. They're looking for a change, a one-word change on the bill. Do you guys have this in front of you? I literally got the email 6 minutes ago. What basically it says on behalf of Think Big Network, we'd like the word rural to be deleted. So thoughts on that? And I just have the email, so I'm seeing this in real time. So Stan, if you had a chance to take a look at that, and what are your thoughts?
I did see it, yeah. Yeah, I don't know what the subcommittee's desire would be on that. I just know that that the testimony, and as I understand it, the issue is with getting broadband into rural areas, and that's what is being subsidized by the government, and which is it's hard to make work financially, so that and I believe broadband is quite profitable in more urban and suburban areas, but that's up to the subcommittee.
I guess my question is, I mean, because we're just seeing this, And I really haven't had a chance to digest that at all. And we're not going to obviously take this up during the subcommittee meeting. So I guess we could have the conversation before it comes to a committee vote to see if this is something that's appropriate or not. And to be honest, I don't have an opinion yet because I'm just seeing it. So I appreciate the conversation.
I have not seen the email yet. I am wondering if the desire is for this pilot to extend to, I guess, urban areas like Baltimore City potentially, or other areas. So I don't know if Mr. Bowley, if you had any input you might be able to offer for us on that.
Yes, good morning. Thank you. Matt Boley here on behalf of Think Big Networks. And the version that passed the Senate as amended, we're comfortable with. It was just striking the word rural. We didn't want this to be limited to rural counties.
I am inclined to accept that amendment if, I don't know what the will of the
I
body.
make amendment to amend it, removing rural.
Okay, is there a second? Is there a second?
Second, I'd like to ask the questions for discussion.
Yep, discussion. Delegate Roberson, I see your hand is raised.
Yeah, I'm actually inclined to take Delegate Griffith's suggestion of us waiting until full committee. The reason is because one, I want to research because my concern, and I think Stan was raising this, was that if it's not necessarily, I heard Mr. Boyle's point about not necessarily rural counties, and I need to see the bill in hand because we're just saying rural areas, not necessarily rural counties. Am I correct?
Yes.
And so rural areas could still be for our, Prince George's County, although Prince George's County is not a rural county, we do have rural areas. And so there are parts of Prince George's that definitely qualify. And going to your point about federal government funding, especially when we look at USDA broadband push, those are based on the census data that's provided from Department of Commerce and looking at those rural areas. So I don't think there's a prohibition on the actual area. And so for us to say rural counties, I think that we're not saying rural counties, we're just saying rural areas. So that was my concern. So I would take Delegate Griffith's. I would push for Delegate Griffith's suggestion that we hold that amendment until we had time to digest and look at it in full committee. That's what I was trying to say, Madam Chair. My apologies for the roundabout way, but I just wanted clarification on that part.
Okay. Well, I guess my question is though, I guess I see this as somewhat of an innocuous amendment potentially in the sense of this is not restricting, this doesn't mean that rural areas don't still have the ability for this to be utilized. I'm hearing it as this is also just clarifying that this pilot could be utilized in other parts of the state that are not deemed rural, right? So Baltimore City is not a rural area. I recognize that Prince George's County does have some rural areas as well as kind of more urbanized suburban areas. But that was the way that I'm hearing this striking of the term rural. Delegate Miraku North. Oh, you're on mute, Delegate. You're on mute.
You would think I would know by now. Perhaps my colleagues or Stan can refresh your recollection. This bill was introduced to specifically address the problem of broadband in rural areas. Is that correct? That's how the bill was introduced?
Yes.
Okay. And if I may ask a follow-up question, Madam Chair, Mr. Boulay, the Senate version, are you suggesting that you like us to match the Senate's version with potentially the House version with this amendment?
Yes, that would be ideal from our perspective.
Okay. Okay, those are my questions. Those are my questions.
I just mentioned quickly that the bill as introduced refers to rural broadband service.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. Follow-up question.
Oh.
Does expanding it to general areas, does that increase the cost?
Well, it would be up to the counties as to whether to provide this incentive.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep. Yes. So, and I think like in terms of the bill as introduced, largely because of it was introduced by Delegate Andre Johnson. So he, parts of Hartford County have challenges because of their rural nature to them. But in addition to rural areas, urban areas, centers also still have challenges with broadband. So I know oftentimes the conversation has been framed around rural areas and broadband challenges, which they are unique and different from urban areas, but they are still both equally challenged in their broadband capacity and infrastructure. Mr. Johansson, did you want to add anything additional?
You said it exactly, Madam Chair. Since it's local option, giving all the counties the option to negotiate with a broadband provider, that's why we would suggest striking the word rural, which is the same thing the Senate did. Thank you.
Absolutely. So we do have the motion on the amendment on the table currently. But folks, I know Delegate Roberson.
I was just going to say, I'm sorry, I missed the part about it was just going to mirror the part of the Senate. So I'm fine with this moving forward with the amendment.
Okay, thank you very much, Delegate Roberson. So we have it properly, a motion and second on adopting the amendment to strike the rule from House Bill. From the House Bill. So all in favor of the amendment? Aye. All opposed? Okay, seeing none, nay. Okay. Is there a motion to move the bill as amended?
I move for the amended.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Nay. Okay, so House Bill 969 is referred to full committee. So we don't have any other bills to take up. As I promised you all, I thought this would be a quicker subcommittee, and it looks like we may have set a record this year. But keep your eyes peeled to your text messages as we continue to move through the week.